What is good, Oak Life familia? It is Greg back at it again with another Roots and Branches. Chris is on vacay, so do not hit him up. He's resting. I mean, you can always hit Oak Life up in general. But anyway, today is a day of joy because I'm going to talk about fighting.
Yeah, look, I get crazy when the mic round. No sense of getting hyped now.
What up? So not actually fighting specifically, but fighting as a theme. So this past Sunday, we continued our conversation around walking in the dark, and I spent some time focusing on the grappling match between Jacob and between God in the form of what I believe is Jesus. But the point of Roots and Branches is always to have an opportunity to expound on what we cannot fit into a Sunday morning, whether that's focusing on community members, focusing on different engagements that Oak Life is having, or aspects of the sermon that we didn't have time to necessarily get into. So I just wanted to take this time, little opportunity to talk about something I really, really, really like, which is the concept of wrestling in a broad sense. And one of the analogies that helps me understand that is fighting in and of itself. So there is a particular style in which I kind of set the basis for all of my analogies around fighting, and that is jiu-jitsu. Now I see we got one person checking in, so if you got any questions, now's the time to ask. But jiu-jitsu is a very Brazilian jiu-jitsu is a very ground-based martial art, grappling, kind of like wrestling, but there's so much intricacy and so much detail, and you learn so much about yourself. And the beauty of it, how we lost that one viewer, I guess fighting is not the topic. Anyway, you learn so much about yourself in learning this style. One of the things that you gain is this idea of discipline. So in the talk this past Sunday, we talked about darkness being an aspect that transitions something from old to new. One sub point was that we are entering into this conversation around darkness in effort to kind of reframe our relationship with the dark, reframe our relationship with struggle. My hope is that as a people, as a society, we could reframe our orientation and relationship around this term discipline. It has a very, very negative connotation because it has been abused. It has been used to control and manipulate individuals, and it's definitely not cool. That said, discipline is one of the things that you gain the more you spend time wrestling, whether that is in the physical, literal sense, or that is in the sense of our relationships when we wrestle, i.e., have intimate, close relationships with family, friends, ourselves, our God. So there is a scene. One thing that I also really, really like about fighting is that there's so much philosophical truth behind different martial arts disciplines that practice fighting, which is super cool. One thing I love about animation cartoons, because this one's kind of a cartoon more than an anime, it is Avatar, The Last Airbender. And you have this protagonist, this character, Aang. He's a 12-year-old boy. He's the reincarnated Avatar. The Avatar is the bridge between the spiritual world and the physical world. And in this Aang Avatar universe, you have 4 elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. And every lifetime, a representative, and it goes in a cycle, a representative from one of the 4 tribes, nations, one of the 4 nations, is reincarnated as the Avatar, and their task is to master all 4 elements. So we're going to watch a scene really quick, and you have Aang, and he's sitting across from this fire-bending master, and he's like, hey, I have this expectation placed on my life. I have to do this thing. And the conversation is very, very interesting. So let's take a look at it. We're going to unpackage it for a little bit. I'm going to have fun. Hopefully you get to have fun. If you're watching this later, leave some comments. Very, very curious around Oak Life, around our community's thoughts around these topics. Very, very interested. So without further ado.
But it's the Avatar's duty to master all of the bending disciplines.
To master the bending disciplines, you must first master discipline itself. But you have no interest in this, so I have no interest in you. Now, get out.
Please, I have to learn. This could be my only chance.
Are you deaf? How can I teach you if you refuse to listen? Before learning firebending, you must learn water and earth. Water is cool and soothing. Earth is steady and stable. But fire is alive. It breathes, it grows. Without the bender, a rock will not throw itself. But fire will spread and destroy everything in its path if one does not have the will to control it. That is its destiny. You are not ready. You are too weak.
Super scary, right? And there's definitely, without a doubt, some hints of this kind of toxicity around control, and you must control it, and you must, overexert yourself, and I'm the master, and you're not worthy. And there are definitely some traces of that. But this other character, Young, what he is saying is so interesting, because he's saying the fire, this element that you so long for, in order to master this, you must master these other aspects. You must master cooling, which is an element to make sure that nothing gets burned. You must master earth, which is stable, which makes sure that the fire has area to live, right? So often we want aspects of things in life that are passionate, that are noteworthy, but the steps required to achieve said thing, we don't have time for that. And the beauty about training in a physical martial art is that it's a very, very tangible example and lesson and teacher in taking necessary steps toward a desired outcome. And it's not saying that there is this kind of self-help approach to unlocking our relationship with God, but it does give some very tangible examples of what process looks like. And I think it's a lesson that, oh man, if it was up to me, Oak Life, we'd all be training jiu-jitsu. But enough about that. For anybody who just watched this 12-year-old boy get yelled at and is like, oh no, there needs to be retribution, I got something for you right here.
You think I am weak, Avatar Roku? No, I did not mean that.
I have mastered the elements 1,000 times in 1,000 lifetimes. Now, I must do it once again. You will teach the Avatar firebending.
Yes. I will teach you.
Really? That's great!
So cute, man. I love Aang's personality. He's so good. So, I could be like over spiritual and say, oh, that's God steps in and makes a way for you. That was not a God character. That was just the pre-reincarnated version of Aang. This is also a plug to go watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, not the movie, but the actual show. It is so good, riddled with nuggets of wisdom and insight and a lot of spiritual truth in it as well. So I'm going to keep this short because it's just me. So I'm going to sign off. But again, please, if you have thoughts, if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you have concerns around topics that you want to hear more from Oak Life's leadership or the Oak Life community, this is the channel to do it. And if you have any questions around anime or discipline or martial arts, I'm your plug. So hit me up. Love you, Oak Life Familia. You're dope. Continue to live, love, fight, and follow as Jesus does. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
That's it. I ain't got a hook.
I ain't got a hook.